Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to this week's news roundup. Now, I've got 7 stories for you today, although 3 do centre around the same topic. And that is where I'm going to start today. Yes, it's the saga that's got everyone talking, or in some cases arguing, and it's all about those flexible wings. We'll start with Andreas Seidl, who is unhappy at the handling of the controversy by the FIA, deeming it unacceptable. So what is this all about then? Well, during the Spanish Grand Prix, rear-facing cameras on the Red Bull showed the car's rear wing flexing and moving at high speed, and that is something that is illegal when it comes to the regulations around movable aerodynamic devices. And after seeing this, the governing body stepped in and issued a new technical directive, which essentially will see the load tests increase on the rear wing. However, these will not come into force until the French Grand Prix weekend. As for why that is, long story short, it's to provide teams with enough time to make changes or even completely redesign their wings to bring them into line with the tests and regulations. And this is where Seidl and others take issue with the FIA, as he feels the delay will give those teams exploiting the regulations a longer advantage. I think when you see the pictures from Barcelona, it's pretty clear what's happening there. Therefore, we welcome the reaction from the FIA with the technical directive and are happy with the basic content. Where we strongly disagree is the timing of the implementation, because from our point of view, there is no reason, after not just one team had already the advantage of doing things which from our view are clearly against the regulations. Those teams had that advantage already for several races, which is something we are obviously not happy with, but now allowing them to have a further advantage for some more races, it's clearly something we strongly disagree with. Seidl went on to brand the delay as simply not acceptable and hopes the FIA shows a very strong hand, as in his view it puts teams complying with the regulations at a disadvantage. The McLaren boss was asked, by the way, if he would consider protesting against teams at upcoming events, and responded by saying that they are talking to the FIA to understand what they will put in place going forward and then, quote, take it from there, although he admits he is not a fan of protesting against others. So that's the first part of this topic done, but as you might expect, this is F1 after all, it doesn't end there. Toto Wolff believes the sport does risk protests over the FIA's action over flexi wings and very much shares the same view as Andreas Seidl. The Mercedes boss has also questioned the delay, saying it is incomprehensible that teams can't adjust to the changes within 4 weeks and crucially before the race at Baku, a track that could be most affected by flexible wings, and he fears this could lead to protests. The technical directive says that the movement of the rear wings has been judged as excessive, so teams who would run this kind of thing are prone to be protested, and probably this is going to go to the International Court of Appeals. Nobody needs this situation. It leaves the door open for protests. It's not only us, but it's probably 2 other teams that are most affected, maybe more. A protest could end up in the ICA, so that's a messy situation. It can take weeks before we have a result. We should not have this situation if we are having 4 weeks until the race that is most relevant in the calendar. So some unhappy team bosses, and the Mercedes boss did go on to describe the technical directive as half-baked, and apparently jokingly added that the team would need to redesign its rear wing to soften it up and make it less rigid, as its current wing complies with the regulations and remains immobile. And last up on all this flexi wing stuff for today at least is all about redesign. Mattia Binotto has admitted that Ferrari is exploiting the current rule but will now have to make changes to comply with the new directive. No great surprises there. He does not believe, though, that they are the only ones taking advantage of the regulation. However, he did add to that by saying he does not feel it is benefiting his team all that much. Yes, we are exploiting the rule. I think all the teams are exploiting somehow what's possible and what we believe is right. We will need to slightly adapt. I don't think it's impacting Ferrari much, certainly on the lap time from what we've seen, very little. But there is some redesign needed to comply fully to the technical directive. But again, I think as Ferrari, it is not impacting us much, but the redesign is required. I mean, it surely has some positive effect, otherwise they wouldn't be using it. But anyway, so it's a redesign for Ferrari, and a number of other teams will likely have to do the same. And that is obviously going to have to include Red Bull. But how much will it all cost? Well, Christian Horner has estimated that it will cost Red Bull around $500,000 to redesign its wing, and on top of that, having to make those changes will have to come at the expense of other development for this year because, of course, the sport now has a budget cap in place. Horner also, by the way, took, for the want of a better term really, a little dig at Toto Wolff during Sky's F1 coverage of practice on Thursday, saying Wolff, quote, knows what's going on in everyone's business and is more focused on our rear wing than he is on next year. Oh, the irony of Christian Horner calling out others for sticking their noses into other teams' business. But let's leave it there on the flexi wings for now, but you can fully expect this to rumble on for a while, probably even after the changes have been made. Moving on then, Carlos Sainz has heaped praise on Ferrari's pace in Monaco and actually believes the team is close to being a threat at the front of the field this weekend. On Thursday, Ferrari stunned just about everyone as they ended FP2 first and second, nearly 4 tenths clear of the first non-Ferrari. And whilst it is only practice, we've got to throw that caveat in there, of course. It has led to a lot of excitement about the prospect of a Monaco upset. However, whilst he is absolutely encouraged by their apparent pace, Sainz remains cautious about the team's chances this weekend, but does feel they are very close to fighting at the very front of the field. We definitely look close to being a genuine threat. We need to wait until P3. Things change a lot from Thursday to Saturday here. There are some drivers who sandbag a bit on Thursday just because they want to take it easy. Suddenly, on Saturday, Lewis is super quick, so we will see. It is nice to see that we are at least closer to the front. It's encouraging for the team. There's some positive signs that the car in the corners is not that bad. His teammate Charles Leclerc added to that by saying that things are, quote, looking good, but very much along the same lines as Sainz is remaining extremely cautious. Okay, it is only practice, and as Sainz has pointed out, other teams will pick up the pace on Saturday, but it was still a big surprise, and I have to say it was nice to see them topping the timesheets for the first time in what feels like forever, really. But could we actually see a shock result on Sunday? That's the big question. I guess to stick another caveat in there, you never really know around Monaco. But I am sticking with my prediction that Leclerc will nick a podium this weekend, but I would be very surprised if it's anything other than a Mercedes or Red Bull on pole and on the top step come Sunday. But what do you guys think? Have any of your predictions changed following practice? And do you believe Ferrari could be on for a win this weekend? You can, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. George Russell has been talking about his F1 future, and he has said that he wants his next contract in the sport to be a multi-year deal. The reason behind that is that he wants to have some long-term stability at whatever team he races for going forward. Russell debuted for Williams back in 2019, signing a 3-year deal at the time, and so is out of contract at the end of this season. The Brit, I don't know if you've noticed, has been heavily linked with a move to Mercedes, possibly taking Valtteri Bottas' seat for 2022, although there's a long way to go in that one just yet. And Russell says that whilst being a free agent leaves him in a good position, having stability and longevity going forward is important to him, pointing to the struggles some drivers have suffered having switched teams for this year as a reason consistency at a team is important for his development. And on this weekend, he believes the team's Saturday performances could leave them in a good position on Sunday if they get it right, as with overtaking being so difficult at Monaco, starting position and track position are so important. He is, as Ted Kravitz called him, Mr. Saturday, so could he finally use that Saturday pace to get himself a point on Sunday for Williams? Feels like it's long overdue, doesn't it? A point for Russell at Williams. And of course, it's their 750th Grand Prix weekend, so it'd be a great way to celebrate. Lando Norris reckons that sticking with McLaren for the next few years would make success with the team taste even sweeter. In case you missed it, earlier this week, Norris was confirmed at the team for 2022 and beyond, as he put pen to paper on a new multi-year deal with McLaren. It's a deal that will reportedly see the Brit and Daniel Ricciardo stay with the team until at least the end of 2023. Speaking a little bit more about his decision, Norris said that he was happy to stay with the team and work hard as it will make success even sweeter, and has every confidence that the team will continue to take strides forward, buoyed by the progress made at Woking over the last few years. And if you are interested, I did put out a reaction video to the Norris news on Tuesday that is kind of half news and half opinion. So if you would like to hear a little bit more of my waffle about it all, then you can find a link on screen to that video now and at the end of this video. And finally, Alpine has hinted that it could stick with its current driver lineup into next season if Esteban Ocon continues to perform as he is, completely wiping out Sean's gut feeling that Pierre Gasly will be in that car next year. I mean, that's why you should never take my predictions seriously. But anyway, the Frenchman has had a solid start to the 2021 season, out-qualifying teammate Fernando Alonso at each of the last 3 races, and has picked up 5 more points than the Spaniard to give himself a total of 10 from the opening 4 races. And Alpine CEO Laurent Rossi has said that the team could keep Ocon for next year, adding that some talks have actually already begun and the team is not looking elsewhere for any driver at the moment. Esteban is doing everything to make me consider keeping him in the team, so at the moment we are already engaged in some conversations with his agent, his management team, Mercedes at large. Esteban is a great driver, so I'm happy to have that type of problem. At the moment, I am considering Esteban. Fernando is here next year with us. If we want to carry on with the momentum we have, we will do that. Ocon, despite driving for the Renault-powered Alpine team, does still, of course, have those ties to Mercedes management and has been linked with a move to the team in the past. And recent performances have even led to some wondering if he might be able to bring himself back into contention for a move to the World Champions for 2022. It seems unlikely, if I'm being honest, given how much Mercedes are backing Russell. Maybe it will come down to what Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas do. If they both lead, they might need to take Ocon and Russell. But it does sound as though Lewis Hamilton is keen to stay next year and beyond. So perhaps that ship has sailed for Ocon. But stranger things have happened in F1 before, so never say never. That is it for this week's news roundup then, but don't forget to let me know what you think about Ferrari's chances in Monaco and indeed your thoughts on any of the stories featured in today's video. Now, I will be back on Sunday with some reaction to the Monaco Grand Prix, and we should be live around an hour to an hour and a half after the race is finished. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this video, then please do leave a like as it really helps out the channel, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.